Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I am talking about ChatGPT, what it's good for, what it's not good for, things like that. So, if you guys don't know what this is a new AI that came out, and basically you're supposed to be able to ask it stuff, and it can kind of generate scripts for you and stuff like that. Like, how do I start a Python simple server? And it should give me the correct commands, right? I know my glasses are very bright, so I apologize. That's why I don't usually wear them in videos. To start a Python simple server, you can use the built-in HTTP server module. This module provides a basic HTTP blah, 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 blah. Here's an example. So you can see here, they give us an example, right? So here is why I think ChatGPT is cool, but I can tell you there's a lot of concern about it replacing jobs and things like that. I could say this. It can replace low-level jobs. Maybe. Okay? Maybe. But I actually competed against ChatGPT in this CTF I did over last week, and it failed miserably. We'll say that. It's close. We'll say that. And when I say it's as close as an AI can get without actual AI. This is not actual artificial intelligence. This is a learning computer. So it's just learning, okay? And so when I say it's close, I mean it's close, okay? This is a simple enough solution. So it pulled it from the internet, basically, already learned it. Boom, there you go. But what happens when we give it advanced solutions? So let's say, what command do I run to pivot in Metasploit? Okay, so the point of this is someone could theoretically, with no knowledge, grab this, use it, follow the commands, and go hack into a computer, right? That's what people are saying, that it can replace hackers. It can replace tech people in general, not just hackers. Here's why it won't, okay? So while that's loading, I'll show you this. So what commands do you use to pivot using Metasploit? So it gives you the commands, right? But you have to get very specific to get it to actually give you examples. And then I can tell you, when I competed against this, we had it specifically giving us the commands we wanted to run. We made it specifically give us commands. And every single command it found was just off. And when I say just off, I mean there was a syntax missing. There was something you needed. There was something. The problem with that is it takes one. If you're saying this can replace somebody and you have a syntax that's off even a little bit, even if it's a capital letter, a period, a missing argument, whatever, it will fail. And when it fails, now what? Now you're going down a rabbit hole asking it questions why it failed, but that's what it thinks is right. So you can see here, this is a good one. Okay, so okay, so another example here. This gives you the information, and it actually did a pretty good job. Route, add. Yeah, you add the route. But do you know what this means? Because that's a whole nother issue, okay? Let's say you're pivoting in a network, and you actually use this command, okay? Even if you get the IP right, the subnet mask is probably wrong, okay? The reason for that is because you don't want to add the route of an entire subnet domain. You want to add 254 hosts to route through. That's not how you do it. So it's giving you, it's close. It's giving you examples. It's good information, but you have to take it all with a grain of salt, because everybody's amping this thing up like, create me a script that, let's say, changes. So we'll do an easy one. Create me a script that adds a user in Windows. This should be easy. It should figure this out very quickly. And then we'll say, create me a script that generates a backdoor into port whatever 3, 4, 5, 6 using, we'll say using Metasploit. So here's another example that I'll show you. So this is just me going off of it. So you can see here's the net user, new user, password, add, echo user, account, create, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's great. So this will work, right? So here's an example of a batch script that adds a user with the user name, new user, and the password. So again, this is great, but you have to know what you're doing, because if you don't understand what they're saying with new user and password, you have to change these. Okay, so it's giving you examples. This is just a fast Google is at this point is what you're looking at. Now you can see you can add parameters. They're giving you examples, but the problem is these syntaxes are not piece for piece. These are examples. So what that tells you, this content may violate our content policy. Okay, so apparently you can't do a backdoor. Let's see if we say, oh, with that said, here's an example of script that generates. Okay, so they wouldn't tell us, but so here's another example. Okay, they're showing you how to do this, but this is not what I asked for. Okay, I asked for a script to do this. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, okay, well, that's, you know, it's Metasploit, so you don't use scripts. You do. You can absolutely automate Metasploit, and I could script this right here if I wanted to. And that's what I asked for, and it didn't give it to me. Okay? These are just some examples. So you can see it's saying to use a script, you need to replace your IP address, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this is a script, sort of, but the problem is you have to change all the arguments. So the reality is you're just giving me part of the puzzle, right? So this is, I could technically grab this, copy it, put it into a script, and put the arguments in, but I would have to already know those arguments and already understand what I'm doing. And then at that point, this becomes more of a tool to, hey, I have a quick question, right? What's this, right? That's it. So it's a really cool tool. Really cool tool. I think it's pretty interesting. I think it does a really good job. But I can promise you, if you try to follow these exact paths and these exact commands and tools and everything that it gives you, you will fail. And I can tell you that from experience. I literally competed against this thing, and it didn't even make it. It couldn't even get into the first machine that I hacked into. And by then, I was already pivoting around and accessing all these other machines. And I don't even think it got any points. That's how bad it was. And the reason is because if you mess up one syntax, it's not going to keep going. You can't keep building. Whereas a person can think on the fly. So that's the problem, right? Is this might work in a perfect situation, but what if something fails or an error or you need an additional syntax? You have to know that from experience and from working. You can't just ask this and hope that it works, right? If you do that, you might get in now and then. You might be able to do some things, but you're not going to be able to actually use this as a complete tool. It's a tool that I would personally say use it at your own discretion. Verify everything that you test things. I would never go into a pen test using something this gave me and just use it without testing it first and expecting it to work. I would never do that because I will either, one, fail, two, be loud as hell and get caught, or, there's just a lot of scenarios. So while this is an awesome tool, I think you guys should all play with it. Make sure you're testing it. Make sure you're checking it. This is not 100% accurate, and this is not what people are making it out to be. It's a awesome tool that I think could help a lot of people in reality, but it will not replace people because you just can't. It's not there yet. And maybe one day it is learning more and more and more. So maybe, but it's not there yet. So hopefully you guys find this interesting, because I think stuff like this is cool to expand your repertoire and also expand the industry, because I think it's really neat. But just keep in mind that this is not accurate yet. It's not what people claim it to be, because it can run simple scripts and stuff like that. It's really nice. It's a really nice tool, but don't rely on it. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.